How many of you out there have both a work phone and personal phone like I do? It can be a drag. We know some people combine the two to avoid carrying around multiple devices, but too often that leads to a lot of complication, and Sarasota City Manager is finding that out firsthand. ABC 7's Taylor Taragano is here to explain. Taylor.
Alan, these public record suits have shown up at the local, state, and federal level. Most recently, Governor Rick Scott making headlines for allegedly using 2 private email accounts for state business. And of course, there was the issue of Hillary Clinton and her private email server during the presidential election. Now, Sarasota's city manager, Tom Barwin, is being sued too. It's a topic that keeps arising, begging the question, are the public record boundaries clear enough? I found that depends on who you ask. 53,326 emails. Tom Barwin at gmail.com.
We went through all of the 53,000 emails, and if there was an email that in any way could be possibly interpreted to be a public record, we would set that aside.
The city manager's attorney says of those 53,000 emails sent to and from Tom Barwin's Gmail account during his 6 years in office, 2,500 of them could be construed as public record. But more than half of those 2,500 had already been forwarded to the city's server.
And of the remaining 1,059 emails that we produced, 770 of them are basically getting a newsletter from a homeowners association or an organization, and also notifications from social media platforms like Google, LinkedIn, Facebook.
Schwed says those probably aren't considered public records. So if you subtract those, Schwed says it boils down to 289 emails Barwin sent or received relating to city matters.
Of those 289, then we have to look at those and determine, are those really, quote, public records as defined by Florida law?
According to the attorneys, this is where it gets problematic. Florida's Public Record Act, as defined by the Supreme Court, includes any materials made or received by an agency in connection with official business which are used to perpetuate, communicate, or formalize knowledge.
So when you try to apply that definition to these emails, it's debatable whether they're public records.
The man suing Tom Barwin for using his private account says, no, it's not.
But there are significant discussions of city business behind the scenes. There's even requests for confidentiality. Don't tell anyone that I'm talking to you.
Michael Barfield is calling himself the watchdog that won't allow these kinds of conversations to be held off the record.
Now he says, well, these were just from citizens that were, I would get stuff forwarded to me. Okay, there's some examples of those in there, but there's also these substantive, very weighty discussions about the dominant issues within City Hall, the homeless, the community redevelopment agency, issues, the Bayfront 2020, issues that routinely come before the City Commission.
Not only that, Barfield says on 3 separate occasions the city manager denied having these conversations at all.
He stated emphatically that I just don't do this. I will triple check, but I just don't do this.
Barwin's attorney says he might have denied it, but only because he didn't know.
In his mind, transacting official city business is a lot more than just getting an email from someone that mentions something about Sarasota. And it's going to be for the court to decide if, in fact, these personal emails that we've produced now are transacting official city business.
From an outside perspective, the rules governing public records in a day of new technology are difficult to navigate.
Everybody is asking is, what are the rules? Because it seems the rules seem to be applied differently to different people. Some of the very same people who were very concerned about Hillary Clinton actually engaged in very similar kinds of activities once they got into office.
If you want to compare the two, Michael Barfield says,
Hillary Clinton had less problems complying with emails than the city manager has.
But regardless of the outcome of this lawsuit, the city manager's attorney says Barwin has already learned a valuable lesson.
I assure you he will not be receiving personal emails that relate to city business anymore.
The city manager's attorney tells me now that they've submitted all of those 2,500 emails, it's in the court's hands. The judge will be the one to decide if they constitute as public records. If they do, Barfield will be eligible to get his attorney fees paid for, but as for any repercussions for the city manager, that will be up to the city commission to decide.
All right. Thank you very much, Taylor.